Welcome to this overview of essential terms for the Louisiana Real Estate exam with Louisiana Learns Real Estate. The Louisiana exam has some unique legal concepts due to its Napoleonic law system. So let's explore the more important terms you'll need to know before you take your state exam. Usufruct is the right to use property without owning it. In Louisiana, it's often used when a spouse passes away, letting the surviving spouse stay in the home while the children inherit the title. An abstract of title is a historical summary of all recorded documents affecting a property's ownership. In Louisiana, attorneys review the abstract instead of issuing title insurance in many cases. This process ensures there are no unresolved claims, unpaid taxes, or other issues. Understanding how to read or obtain an abstract can help you provide better service to your clients. Dation in paiement, which translates to giving in payment, allows a debtor to give property back to a creditor instead of continuing to owe money. This can be an alternative to foreclosure. It helps both parties avoid court fees and the stress of drawn-out proceedings. It's similar to a deed in lieu of foreclosure in other states, but with civil law procedures. Conveyance records are public documents that show all transactions affecting a property's title. Before buying or selling, a title attorney searches these records to ensure the seller has a legal right to transfer ownership. If there's a problem in the chain of title, it can delay or stop a sale. Agents must understand this process so they can help clients resolve issues early. The homestead exemption in Louisiana helps homeowners lower their property tax bill by exempting up to $75,000 of a home's value from taxation. To qualify, the home must be the owner's primary residence, and they must apply for the exemption at their parish assessor's office. It's a key selling point for owner-occupants. Unlike all other U.S. states that follow common law, Louisiana's legal foundation comes from the Napoleonic Code, a civil law system. This affects how contracts are written, how disputes are resolved, and how property is transferred. This background shapes many of the unique laws we've discussed, such as usufruct, forced heirship, and reddition. Title insurance is less common in Louisiana because of our strong reliance on attorney-reviewed abstracts. However, some lenders still require it, especially for buyers using mortgages. It's important to know how this differs from other states, where title insurance is standard. Forced heirship is another term that's uniquely Louisiana. This law requires that a certain portion of a deceased person's estate must go to forced heirs, typically children under the age of 24 or those of any age who are permanently disabled. The idea behind this rule is to protect vulnerable family members from being disinherited. For example, if a parent tries to leave everything to a new spouse but has a qualifying child, the law will ensure that the child receives their legal portion. As a real estate professional, you need to understand how this affects property transfers and succession. Community property means that anything earned or purchased during the marriage is considered jointly owned by both spouses. If a couple buys a home during their marriage, both own it equally, regardless of who earned the money or whose name is on the deed. Louisiana is one of the few community property states, and this can significantly affect sales, divorces, and inheritances. It's essential to know whether a property is community or separate when helping clients with transactions. Separate property is just the opposite of community property. It includes anything a person owned before marriage or received during marriage by inheritance or as a gift. For example, if a woman inherits a family home from her grandmother while married, that house is her separate property, even if she and her spouse live in it. However, if community funds are used to maintain or improve that property, some complications can arise. These classifications impact what can be sold, mortgaged, or inherited, so agents need to ask the right questions. A bond for deed is a type of seller financing used in Louisiana. especially when a buyer can't qualify for a traditional mortgage. Under this arrangement, the buyer makes installment payments to the seller, but the deed doesn't transfer until the final payment is made. Think of it like a rent-to-own contract. It's important because if the buyer defaults, the seller still legally owns the property and can reclaim it more easily than through foreclosure. Knowing how to structure or explain a bond for deed is crucial for clients seeking alternative financing options. Lesion beyond moiety is a protection for sellers who may have been taken advantage of. If someone sells property and receives less than half of its fair market value, they can go to court to rescind the sale. This only applies to immovable property like land or buildings. For example, if an elderly seller unknowingly sells a home worth $200,000 for just $90,000, they can challenge that sale in court. It's a rare situation, but one that makes Louisiana's legal landscape distinct. Redhibition is a powerful consumer protection under Louisiana law. If a buyer purchases a home and later discovers a hidden defect, like structural problems, termite damage, or mold, they may be able to cancel the sale or demand a price reduction. The defect must be something the buyer couldn't have reasonably discovered, and that significantly affects the property's value or use. As an agent, you must always disclose known defects and encourage inspections to avoid redhibition claims. A privilege mortgage is one that gets paid before others if a property is sold or foreclosed. For instance, if someone has multiple debts secured by their property, the privileged ones, like property tax liens, get paid first. This impacts what lien holders can expect to recover. Knowing how liens are ranked helps agents explain closing costs and financial risks to buyers and sellers. Louisiana doesn't have counties like other states. Instead, we have parishes. There are 64 parishes in the state, and each parish has its own clerk of court, who maintains the official property records, including deeds, mortgages, and liens. This is where agents and title attorneys go to verify ownership and file real estate transactions. That concludes our overview of key Louisiana real estate terms. Many of these terms are unique to our state's civil law tradition. Be sure to review them closely as you study for your exam. Understanding these terms will not only help you pass the test, but also make you a more knowledgeable and trustworthy real estate professional. Good luck, and thank you for watching Louisiana Learns Real Estate.